Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Dragonite, and welcome back to Harvest December, final chapter, Perfect December. Let's do this. My nose itches, let's start a new game, or new bookmark, or whatever you want to call it. The first winter I spent here, I gained it all. The second winter I came, and I lost it all. The snow kept falling. I didn't see any road I could take. Before me lay a vast stretch of land all painted white. I didn't know which way to go. I was afraid to take a step. Say I wandered around without destination. I wouldn't be able to come back to the same place again. No. Part of me disagreed with the thought. I was right to think I didn't have a clue where to go. But the bigger problem was that I didn't have a place to come back to. I needed a sign. Suddenly I found one. On the ground there was a trail of footsteps. It caught my attention because I knew who they belonged to. Yuki. I took a step forward, adding to the imprints on the ground. I could hear the snow crunch beneath my feet. Another step forward. Another. This was what I was searching for. Wait. But why are my feet so heavy? I needed to catch up, but I felt like the distance between us stretched further and further away. Another thought. If I followed these footsteps, it would take me to the person that cut me away. What if I met her and she didn't want me anymore? This is why reality is merciless. Say it with me. I still had questions, but before I could reach my hand out, before I could take another step forwards, everything went white. Then dark. A dream? I woke up to the smell of bread warming on the stove and the smell of people opening their bento boxes. It was lunchtime. Oh, it was a dream. I looked down on my desk and found my notebook for historical Japanese open. That was the first class of the day. That meant I had slept straight through till lunchtime. Oh no. A few of my classmates noticed me waking and looked surprised as if they didn't expect me to get up ever again. I can't believe I dreamed about her. It wasn't reality. Dreams were supposed to provide me an escape to the reality I lived in. I sighed. I'm going to buy some bread, I said to nobody in particular. A miracle happened. Finally, after all this time, I had a pork cutlet sandwich in my hand as I walked back to my classroom. It was such a popular item among the boys that it was always sold out. Now that half the lunch break was over, I only expected to buy something like an egg sandwich if I was lucky. But the lady at the kiosk had one that she had forgotten to put out on the display. There wasn't much time left, so as soon as I sat down by my desk, I poked a straw through my pack of milk coffee and opened the sandwich wrapper. I bit into it eagerly. It took 4 hours for the body to digest protein. It wasn't something gentle to the stomach, therefore unsuitable for infants that hadn't developed their full digestive systems. It wasn't healthy for grown-ups either to suffer indigestion, so I chewed carefully before I swallowed, savoring each bite of the prize sandwich in my mouth. It tastes disgusting. I lost my appetite instantly. It was too salty, the cabbage tasted like paper, the bread was soggy. I could think of a million reasons why the sandwich was bad. But it's all good when you have one once in a while, I mumbled to myself. Then, what am I comparing this to? I grumbled as I looked at Yuki's desk, now being used by a different girl. It was strange how people remembered the worst kinds of dreams. I recalled Yuki walking away in the snow. Then I thought about how much it hurt when she hit me. My chipped teeth was fixed now, but so many other things remained broken. I hadn't seen Yuki ever since the day I put her to the test, and she went away. Yuki was currently living in the home Mikami had created somewhere as a part of Mount Okami, or so I was told. The house was part of the house was where the children of gods were delivered, but Mikami's delivery room was like no other. It was in a different dimension, Mikami said. It was a place cut away from our world that only allowed those that had the authority to enter. Which means I, being a simple human, couldn't see where it was. I'm so hungry. I pushed the sandwich away to the corner of the desk. What I wanted now was what I had been taking for granted all this time. The large two-tiered bento box filled with lightly salted food, the chopsticks that had fed me, the white slender fingers that urged me to eat. I'm completely hopeless, I could admit that. I didn't want to eat anything other than Yuki's cooking. Spoiled, I know. But if this were the French Revolution, I imagine my neck would be chopped off by a guillotine for the name of equality. I also knew my standards were now way too high for my own good. But it was hard adjusting back. Maybe this was what fallen aristocrats felt like. It was like being presumptuous again. I laughed at myself. Thankfully, the milk carton I had was something I was accustomed to. Today, I would just have to drink that to fill my belly. A classmate walking past me looked at me awkwardly. Judging from his reaction, I must have looked pretty depressed. I found another face that looked just as glum as I did. Kohai Toyama, unlike me, seemed alright eating tasteless bread. Still, he didn't look as if he was enjoying it. We had both been spoiled thoroughly. Each time he took a bite, he would glance sideways and look to the front again. He was looking at Sane Marino. She hadn't touched her lunch. Health is top priority, she used to say as she dug into her food. You get tubby, Sane, Kohai would tease. No, I won't, she'd pout, and Kohai would calm down. Now there was none of that. All of that was gone. Kohai slowly traced his gaze down Sane's body. Don't look, I whispered, but he didn't hear me. His eyes went wide for a moment, then his face contorted in pain. There was a circle of scars that marred her skin around her right thigh. They looked like they had been punctured by small bullets. From hole to hole, a red line connected them, and stitches went all around her leg. All around. It was a reminder that it had been a forceful procedure to join something that was almost torn off. It was a reminder that someone had done her wrong. Everyone in Tagami knew Sane's leg had been injured by a wolf. They also knew that she would never be able to use her right leg again. Kohai-senpai! Kohai had no idea what kind of expression he had on his face. Mayuri Yasuji froze when she took one look at him. Oh, Mayuri, you've come. I told you I would make you a lunch. She pointed at the sandwich wrapper in his hand and gave him a small smile. I couldn't wait. Show some discipline, come on. Where are we going? Away from here, let's have lunch in the student council room. What's the problem with having lunch here? Are you serious? Kohai dropped his gaze to his feet. I can brew you a fresh pot of tea there. Come on, we don't have much time left. Don't have much time left, huh? Still, Kohai obliged. Standing from his seat, he followed her out with sagging shoulders. Before he left the classroom, he almost looked back. Senpai! But Mayuri's voice stopped him, and he was left without doing so. Mayuri Yasuji visited the classroom every day. Kohai Toyama would agree to anything she said. Everyone else watching could guess the situation easily. I could hear the whispers as soon as the two left, but a single sound silenced them all. It was the sound of a pair of chopsticks clattering as they fell to the floor. Clack, 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 clack. They bounced around and rolled before settling to a stop. Time was stretched out in the silent room. I dropped it, Shanae said, as she looked at her plastic chopsticks laying near her. It was a small, weak voice that made the people around her swallow a breath. She didn't move, but simply stared. I have to pick it up. But she couldn't move. Her expression clouded. And all she had to do was stand up, bend down, and pick it up. That was all. But now, Sane Marino couldn't do it on her own. Mizuho Toyama stopped visiting our classroom. I was simply watching everything like a bystander. The first bell rang, and the students returned to their seats. Before I knew it, Sane's chopsticks were gone. Somebody must have picked them up for her. Among the recovering buzz in the classroom, my ears picked up a certain conversation. Hey, the boy drawled. What's the matter? His friend, the girl that sat near him, responded. Was our school ever this boring? Alright, here it is. I was wondering, because that was a kind of long intro, the Fly High Works thing. Alright, is this going to be unique? Because it's not really autumn anymore. And it's like the last chapter. Although, again, December is technically autumn. Final episode, indeed. That was quite a slideshow there. Anyway, perfect December. Let's do this. Boundaries. Oh, so are we going to go through like all of the chapter themes? Like the first one was boundaries, the second one was gifting. I forget what the third one was. Anyway, it was one of those rare days when Tagami wasn't having a blizzard. Has it been a while? I shifted the sports bag on my shoulder so I wouldn't fall off. Walking home with somebody, I mean. Kohai added, thinking my silence was a question. Mizuho seems really busy. Yeah, she doesn't come home till late. She has to watch the wolves and stuff. I mean, she's in more danger than anyone else by doing that. You should help or stop her. It's been a while and nothing's happened yet. But... Mizuho won't listen to anything I say. Oh, so she is your sister after all. Yasuji is helping her, right? Yeah, she won't listen either. Everyone was doing what they did for their own reasons. I looked up. A thin veil of clouds covered the gray sky. You've got lots of questions, but what about you? There's nothing I can do. That's why I'm walking home with you right now. Wow, I feel special. Same goes for you. You wouldn't choose me for company otherwise. You got that right. His glum expression softened and he grinned a little. After that, there was nothing else to say, so we walked in silence. It would have been easy to make a pointless chit-chat, just to fill the void. Even so, neither of us attempted to strike a conversation. It wasn't as if we had a lot of topics to discuss, and moreover, it would always lead to that one subject we didn't want to talk about. It would happen with a slip of the tongue. I was afraid he would ask about Yuki, and he was afraid I would ask about Sine. We were such cowards. Aren't you going to visit Yuki? But today, Kohai took a bold move and broached the subject. Not yet. When, then? From the corner of my eye, I could see his serious expression. Mikami-sama said that men aren't allowed. That's never stopped you before. Ouch. I couldn't deny that. I thought about asking Mikami or Dr. Manaka to set me up with Yuki. But I always stalled. What could I do? What would I do? What could I do when I met her? I guess it's something that takes time, huh? Kohai said kindly. You're trying to do something about your situation now, aren't you, Kohai? Without answering me, she placed his hand on the door to Sine and pulled it open. It was easy to dodge an attack you knew was coming. But even so, Kohai didn't move. You're a persistent one, aren't you? Yumi Marino said as she held a dripping bucket in both hands. Is Sine in? Kohai knew she would throw water at him, but he simply let her. I haven't been able to visit her since the incident. How dare you come here? Yumi didn't look angry but disgusted. Don't you see what you've done to my daughter? That's why I'm here to apologize. And what do you plan to say to her? Her knuckles were white as she clutched her bucket. Every day she wakes up an hour early to do stretches. It takes her more than twice the time to get to school. And what are you doing? You're having fun with that clever girl of yours, taking her home to your room, I hear. That's... Go on. Give me your excuse. If it isn't good enough for me, it sure as hell isn't good enough for her. It's my fault she's injured. Yes, Yumi answered in a clipped manner. I didn't miss the fact that her eyes would occasionally swim when I didn't miss the fact that her eyes would occasionally swim when she talked to Kohai, and when he made that admission for a moment she looked small. Yumi-san, where's Sine? Go on, talk to her. Yumi pointed behind us. Sine. Kohai swallowed a breath. I turned around to face her instead. Masaki-kan, you're not on shift today. I could hear her crutches pack down in the snow with each step she took. I hadn't noticed her coming while I was listening to Kohai and Yumi. Why are you here? I didn't answer. Was it your checkup day? I thought it wasn't my place to talk, so I let Kohai do the talking instead. Kohai, you're all wet. Don't mind me. We're talking about you. Me? I haven't been able to talk to you after that, and I'm a bit tired. She hobbled towards Kohai on her crutches. My leg is injured, but I'm not complaining about it. End of story. She stumbled a bit as she passed him. So now I'm here to apologize. Nothing changes even if you do. Her crutches hit the floor. She took another step forwards. She hadn't adapted to the hardness of the floors inside. Sine slipped. She fell forwards, hitting her shoulder on the corner of a table before crashing to the floor. Her aluminum crutches followed in a loud, high clatter. Sine! See, there's nothing you can do, Sine said quietly, without looking our way. Kohai stiffened. Just leave Sine alone. Yumi shut the door in his face. Kohai was too slow to reach out. His fingers traced the glass on the door. We could hear Sine and Yumi talking through the glass panes rattling from the wind. I don't understand. Why did it all come to this? Don't think about it, Sine. Mom's here with you. Don't think about it. They both fell silent, and we could see Yumi carry Sine to the back, their silhouettes fuzzy in their warped glass. Kohai lowered his hand from the door. He stood still, staring, even though he couldn't see them anymore. I shuddered from the cold. I turned around to see a few flecks of snow float down from the gray clouds. The wind was getting stronger, too. In an hour we would have a blizzard again, and the roads would be shut down. Kohai Toyama wasn't aware of his surroundings. The cold bit into him regardless. I had expected just as much, I muttered as I pulled out a few things from my bag. You're so prepared. I've seen you get drenched every day for the past 2 weeks, but now I think you could expect me to do this. I scowled as I switched on a battery-operated hand dryer and pointed it at his head. The low whir of the machine sounded a bit silly. Here, and a towel. Here, a cloak. Here, a Cairo. What is that? Oh, so it's like chemical heat. Alright. Before Kohai could complain, I pushed them all onto him. Thanks. Sorry to put you through the trouble, but you're having. Sorry to put you through the trouble when you're having a hard time of it yourself. Don't mind me. We should hurry up. The blizzard's coming. Oh, don't worry. I can manage getting home myself. It may have looked inappropriate, but I didn't care at this point. I grabbed hold of Kohai's hand and pulled him forward to walk. Don't you think you should keep yourself in good condition in case Tsunade needs your support? Just like that, Kohai's heavy legs began to move. You know, you don't know how to handle things for yourself, but you sure know how to push me forwards. Come on. I didn't have a good comeback for him, so I simply ushered him on. Gifting. Alright, so it looks like I was right. We're going through the themes of the months. Anyway, I'm going to end this off here. So, my name is Dragonite. I hope you all enjoyed that. We'll continue this in the next part, and I will see you all later.